All right, then. Welcome into this edition of Extra Time. We got Craig, Shaka, Seb here in the studio. We also got Paolo Bandini with us as well. We've got your questions, but there's a few things that we didn't get to in the show we thought we should address, maybe with Paolo first. Lukaku to Inter. Apparently Manchester United won 75 million euros, Paolo, for the Belgian striker. Where's this thing going?
It's going... Look, I think it'll get done in the end, but I have some serious questions at the moment about how Inter are going to make it happen, because Inter certainly don't have 75 million euros to throw around as things stand. Now, they do have some valuable assets that they might be able to move. Ivan Perisic is one that's been mooted a lot. I think they've probably missed their window to get as much for him as they could have a year or two ago, but I think there's still some market for him that they might be able to exploit. The bigger and more obvious one is Mauro Icardi. Mauro Icardi, the club do not want back. Antonio Conte has made it pretty clear that he's not a guy that he sees as part of his plans going forwards. The problem being that Icardi himself has so far given no indication that he's in a rush to leave. He's said plenty of times before now that he likes it Inter and wants to stay in Milan. Of course, the relationship has changed a lot between him and the club in the last 12 months, but still, he has so far been pretty reluctant to the idea of being sold. And yes, so you've got to find find a suitor for a player who has been a bit difficult to manage, who's had his name in headlines for the wrong reasons all season, whose wife and agent is known as being a very colourful and sometimes difficult character to negotiate with. And then if you can move him on, then you can start perhaps talking about meeting the sums of money that Manchester United want. So there are hurdles to clear here, is my very roundabout way of saying that. I think there's obstacles to this getting done. I think it will get done in the end, but there are steps that have to be got through before we get there.
What do you guys think? Is Lukaku a suitable replacement for Icardi?
Depends on which Lukaku we're talking about. Manchester United Lukaku, no. Belgium Lukaku, absolutely yes. And that's the challenge with Lukaku. You just see these two different sides of him, as I mentioned, for club and country. Somehow they just don't meet in the middle.
Anybody whose wife is not their agent.
No, hold up.
Can I ask you about Icardi? That was my next question.
Paolo described it as colourful. A colourful character.
Anybody who's going to be less of a problem is probably. But I don't see. I think Icardi, in my opinion, is a much better footballer. But he's got tons of baggage, unfortunately, for potential suitors. It's whether the dynamic changes when he goes to another club. Well, does it? Does it ever? It maybe does for a short period, and then it rears its head again.
One of the things, obviously, Icardi being linked with a swap with Dybala and Juventus, and my opinion of Icardi certainly at Inter over the last few months is that, as my mother used to say, he got too big for his britches. That he felt he was bigger than the club. You go to Juventus and you share a dressing room with Cristiano Ronaldo. You understand the pecking order. Yeah. So maybe that works in terms of just kind of Icardi understanding his standing in the dressing room and being the player that we know he can be.
Paolo, Shaka mentions Juventus. Where else could Icardi end up?
Yeah, I mean, that's the great fascinating question here, because I agree with what both the guys just said. What Craig said, is he a better player than Lukaku? In my opinion, yes. I think Mauro Icardi's absolutely a world-class striker when he's on, when he's giving you everything that he can. Likewise, though, finding a club for him is not going to be straightforward. Manchester United, frankly, if Inter thought they could get a swap deal out of this, if they could send Icardi to Manchester and get Lukaku coming back in the other direction, they'd be happy. But from what I've heard so far, United aren't that keen on it. Is everyone at Juventus sold on the idea of Icardi coming in there? No, there are some people who like it and some people who don't. Or even though for them, yes, it does present potentially a nice solution to a problem they might have with Paolo Dybala, who's coming off a very frustrating and disappointing season. It's a real dilemma for any club looking at Icardi. Are you willing to take the drama for the talent? And I think there should be clubs that are interested in him. I think, again, the talent is so great that it's worth it for somebody. But a lot of teams are going to shy away, and I don't know, is the honest answer, which club is going to be the one that takes a leap at it. I think it may yet be a question of some teams are watching the situation and waiting for things to get harder and harder for Inter, to wait for them to be so far backed into a corner that they let him go for a low price, because they know that Inter don't want him. It's almost like such a a strong buying position if you do want Icardi now, because you know that the club that has him needs to sell him, needs to get rid of him, that the manager doesn't want him there. So, yeah, it's. I think this is a saga that's going to last all of the summer, to be honest with you. But I don't know is the answer as to which club he winds up at.
All right, then let's get to some of the questions.
Have we had a question yet?
No, that was
That was Seb's question.
No, wait a second.
Did you ask a question there?
Seb
that
asked that question.
That was not a Seb. That was a producer.
Don't blame it on the producer.
All right, Frankie wants to know.
How long have you been here?
Want to be the producer.
How long have you been at ESPN?
Too long. Too long.
You should know this particular producer. You just ignore him.
Oh, really? That's your advice?
Yeah.
This is a guy who, 5 days after I got married, told me I should. I was already telling my wife the truth.
You're telling her the truth already?
It's funny though because Craig actually met my wife today and could not have been more charming.
No,
She's like, oh my God, Burley's so nice. All that stuff you say about him is crazy.
I walked in, I didn't know it was bring your wife to work day. I didn't realise. I've seen people in with little kids and all that, but you know.
Well, you know.
I'm impressed you were walking, Craig. From what I hear about your golfing injuries, I thought it would be, need some assistance just getting in.
Paolo, don't start. Oh, goodness.
Paolo, it's an old war wound.
Old war wound. Oh, Paolo.
I'm off. I'm not playing golf. That's a week now. My knees, pieces.
How does that affect your mood?
Not as much as you.
Okay. Do you want to answer this question, Craig? Can we move on?
Ask some questions. I'd quite like to leave this tonight. So ask a question, get an answer.
Is Neymar the next Bale with all these injuries? Frankie wants to know.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. Potentially. Everybody thinks Gareth Bale's he's had injury problems recently, but everybody thinks Gareth Bale's time at Real Madrid's been a disaster. But it hasn't. I mean, it's not always been plain sailing, but there's been lots of good stuff there as well.
Kartik asked the question, what is more difficult, playing while it's raining or playing while temperatures are very high? Shaka, which do you prefer?
Temperatures are very, very high.
Yeah, as a goalie, I would figure that makes sense.
Why is that difficult for you? You know, you never moved. Surely a slight, surely a wet,
I have you know we established on yesterday's show that goalkeepers are the most fit players on the pitch.
What part of the pitch?
Entire pitch. I was well documented.
Okay. That is true if you played with a goalkeeper, an Estonian goalkeeper that I played with in the Premier League called Mark Poom, who was the fittest man I've seen on a football squad.
And I'm second? Is that what you're saying?
You were slightly behind. He was incredible. He used to beat everybody in all the pre-season tests. Incredible.
What about you? Because you were a field player.
We didn't even answer the question, did we?
What's easier to play in?
Yeah, which do you prefer? I'd assume you.
Well, he would say rain because he's from Scotland.
I don't like playing in really cold.
I grew up playing in the heat, so I don't
like playing in really cold rain. Like we used to play up in the north of Scotland in Aberdeen, and midweek and it was freezing coming off the North Sea, and then you get in at half time and you're soaking. It's cold, so I preferred the heat, but just not too hot.
Our next question. Everyone on set has a go-to catchphrase. Sebby's is, "Hey there, everybody." And, all right.
That's your extra time catchphrase.
Craig's is absolute utter stupidity. And Shaka's is, "Oh goodness me." What is Paolo's?
That's a great question. I don't know if I have one. I think mine is just sort of giggling in the background most of the time, isn't it?
That's mine.
Defending my hair or something like that.
That's mine, Paolo. I've already claimed that one.
My other one is you muppet.
You have some good ones. Like.
Don't suck up to me now.
No, like.
Clown juice. I like clown juice. I like clown.
Clown juice. Sorry.
No,
there's a
like
Captain something.
Cloud Cuckoo Land.
Cloud Cuckoo Land.
That's a good.
Cloud Cuckoo Land.
I like cloud juice.
Do you know when he's falling asleep before the shows?
Huh?
Where he's drifting off to Cloud Cuckoo?
You know when he's drifting off in our green room, as he often does.
Allegedly.
You're sitting. You can see him. You can always tell. And he goes like that. He goes, "Oh goodness me." Goodness me.
That sofa's comfy, right?
Yeah, Cuckoo Land.
Cloud Cuckoo Land.
Oh, well.
What's Stevie Nichols? Oh, where you go?
Hold on.
All right.
Believe it or not, available daily. Don't miss a single episode. We'll see you tomorrow.